So, for whatever reason, jump is always a popular choice that I've never done actually before in the Souls-like, even though we have done it in other series. So here's the thing, let's try it, but I don't actually have a good animation for it. So, we're just going to be going up and down, and we're not going to have an animation for it right now. We'll see later what we need and the logic that we're going to have to acquire. So let's open up. Well, actually, first of all, let's create a jump key, and let's actually do it the same way as Dark Souls does it, by pressing down the left thumbstick. Okay, so let's add one. Let's call this jump, and we'll add two bindings. The first one will be the space, and the other one is going to be the left thumbstick down, left stick press. Okay, save that asset, and let's open up our input manager in this case, and then our controller. So let's see, do we have performed over here? So keys.player.jump performed. Let's see, we should add something in here, and the thing is, it is a jump. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to say void handle jump. Now, jump is kind of a specific case, and because you first need to be sprinting, you first need to be grounded, of course, and you also need to be sprinting to do it. If you're not sprinting, which means you're not, you can't jump. Right now, we're going to ignore all of those conditions. We're just going to make our controller fly into the air. So technically, you will want to also add some delay onto it. Later, we'll see. So let's start with finding what velocity we can actually want to have. So if you're grounded, all we're doing is we're projecting our velocity onto our plane, and then we are changing our velocity from our rigid body. Okay. Now we're going to add a jump flag in here. So we're going to say public bool jump flag. So if jump flag, we're going to close the jump flag, and then on our target velocity, we're basically going to assign vector3.up, let's say 15. We actually just want him to go high into the air right now and nothing else. Then over here, we're just going to say jump flag equals true. Now, in reality, you play an animation first, and when that animation is going to fly, you add an event and you start jumping. You start going upwards. Okay, we just want him to go up right now, and we'll see how that's going to work. There is one thing that might break that, and that is the ungrounded logic we have. Okay, because the ungrounded logic we have is actually holding the controller right onto the ground, as we see over here. Okay, so it's grounded, current position. We see our current position, which then we use for this, and then we lerp down our character. One way we can avoid that is to say is grounded equals false. If not is grounded, if actually you're still grounded, then we're doing the grounded position. Now that won't do anything on the first frame, so it's going to work exactly as we want to, but on the next frame it's still going to start lerping down. So we need to basically just tell the controller that you're going to have to be grounded for a few seconds, so you're going to always return false on grounded for a few seconds, so that we actually have some air onto our controller. So avoid or skip grounding. Let's use that. So if skip grounding is greater than 0, whatever value that might be, just return 0 and say is return and just say is grounded will be false. So while this is happening, also just remove, just start decreasing the skip grounding. So that means if I go in here and say skip grounding for 1 second, for the next second that I'm going to be jumping, we're going to ignore sticking our controller onto the ground. Let's wait till this plays, and voila, that's an NBA jump if I seen any. Okay, so that's the whole idea of it, of how we jump. Of course, you need to change the jump, you need to have an animation for jumping, that will help. And well, I might try and find some from XML, I don't know. Okay, now the only thing that's changing is we do still keep well, actually, yeah, we do play the animations and we can still rotate, but that's because we're still on the idle. If you're playing the jumping animation, you won't have this problem. So let's say we wanted to add the conditions on our input manager. I will have to say if controller dot is printing, then that's the only condition that can make us jump. Okay, now the other condition we actually should have is if controller is printing and controller dot is grounded. Okay, so we're not double jumping. You can say that for the entire second that passes, that when we're actually switching the animation from the idle to falling, that's when the grounded state starts working again. Okay, so you can say that I can now jump only when sprinting. Okay, I'm pressing it now, nothing happens, but if I sprint and press, then I can jump. So that's the gist of it. As you can see, it was super simple. We need to find the correct values, obviously. So let's pause the video and try and find an animation to use, and we'll come back. So here's one animation. Let's rename this to jump. Apply that. Then we kind of need to change a few things. First of all, we need the orientation. Let's replace just so that we can see what our character is going to look like. Okay, then we need to fix this as original. There's a little bit of root movement over here, which is not particularly great, but that will do for now. Obviously, it's kind of terrible. As you can see, the animation will not really look too good with this, but whatever. That's what we have. That's what we're using. So I'm going to call this jump, and the jump, and I think actually the jump, as you can see, should go onto the on air, and while the on air is playing, it should be over there. So I think we should probably change the mid air from this. Let's see, he has his left feet, yeah, left foot forward. On the jump I think it's different, it's the opposite. On the jump is no, left feet forward. Okay, so we're going to cut it here. Or maybe let's say we cut it even higher. Let's say we cut it here. So here I'd say add an event that we're going to call open jump flag. Okay, then I'm going to actually duplicate this, and I'm going to name this mid-air, and we're going to keep this on the 13 frame up till 14. Okay, so that's going to play just so that we have a matching on air. So mid-air, then we have the jump, where jump is going to move through this. Okay, that's all we need, I guess. Let's capitalize this. Then let's find our events. Not these events, our animator hook. Where we're going to say public void set or open jump flag. Let's see, over here we do have a controller dot jump flag equals true. Then on our input manager, we're not going to be playing the jump flag. We're actually going to say if you're sprinting, if you are grounded, and if you're not interacting, then controller dot play target animation jump true, crossfade time almost none, mirror, then the rest we don't really need. So let's try this. Of course, he's still going to fly high in the sky. That's a risk we're willing to take. Woohoo! Yep, that's basically it. You stay in the ground, loser. So, yeah, that's the gist of the jump. If we now say that we have on the controller, let's make this into a public variable of, so we could just say We could just override entirely the y value, and we can say jump flag. Let's see. Obviously, all this can be adapted from attributes. Jump force, let's say 1. Let's say jump avoid grounding. Then jump force, then jump avoid grounding. Now, I think we already know that 1 is too much. Let's say 0.2 seconds, and jump force, let's say 2. Obviously, you're going to have to find your own values that work for your levels, your controller, and so on. But I think this will work fine for us right now. Okay, it doesn't. Let's see why we're stuck then. So if we go over here, we will see that we are currently grounded. We are grounded, but we're still interacting because I think we never left out the on air. So one way we can make sure this never happens, or yeah, so there was an earthquake. Anyway, I see things. Well, nothing fell, so I guess let's continue. So, where was I? Yeah, so one thing we can say we can actually just add a new bool over here. We'll say is grounded, grounded, and then from on air is grounded. Should play there. Now we can leave it with exit time, because when we play the landing animations, that should probably override the transition and move him to actually play a landing animation, unless we forgot to do anything, which I don't think we did. Okay, so let's open this. Then on our controller, let's just say on the end, well, in update as well, anim set bool is grounded. Let's give this a shot. So let's see. Yeah, that kind of works if we actually had some better animations, it would have been better. But all I'm going to do right now is basically just increase the avoiding ground, just so that we have a fall off. Okay, obviously we can give it a little bit more force. Well, it's not the best, but you get the idea. You actually have grounding. Now there is a little bit of an issue. Well, if you see his feet being a little bit off the ground, that's basically the root animation, or well, the hips animation from the animation. But yeah, you can see that this now works fine. Let's see if the landings are actually going to work. Let's fall without something. Now that didn't do anything. Well, okay, we're going to do the landings next, because I really need to take a break, because there might be another earthquake. So I'll see you next time. Hopefully nothing will happen. So anyway, like, subscribe, support. Might need a new house, and I'll see you next time.